Last week, we enjoyed an exciting 3 days of elk hunting here at Elk Camp with Tim Sightzinger, but things didn't go quite as we would have planned for them to. Join us this week as we pick up the action and continue this exciting Arizona elk hunt here at Elk Camp. I'm Steve Chappell, and welcome to Elk Camp. So last year in 2018, we had a real drought year in this unit, and so the bulls didn't grow good antlers. I was over in Unit 1 last year, mainly because of the drought. But this year was a total opposite as far as antler growth was concerned, and that's because we had a great winter and a great spring. So the bulls grew phenomenal antlers, and as I was checking my trail cameras, as the bulls developed in the velvet, it was just getting me more and more excited for the start of this hunt because the bulls were really looking great. And I was really looking forward to this hunt with Tim Sightzinger.
All right, looks like a better morning this morning. We got a bull actually bugling here before it's just cracking daylight, and we didn't even have to call to get him to bugle, so we didn't have to yank a courtesy bugle out of him. So we might have some action here again this morning at Elk Camp. Let's go get him.
So the following morning brought about a welcome change, and that was a bull that was actually bugling in the darkness for us without me having to call to get him to bugle back. We started hiking in toward him. He was bugling very frequently, so I kind of figured by his aggressiveness and the frequency of the bugling that he had cows. And sure enough, as we got in there close, we could hear the cows calling a little bit, so we knew once again that we were dealing with a herd bull. So we got in fairly tight. It's about as tight as I thought we could get away with. And as he got closer, it got to the point once again where I felt like he was in that zone where I could threaten him and talk to his cows by blowing that lip ball bugle. As soon as I fired that bugle off at him, once again you could tell by his response that he was coming, and he separated from the cows and came walking right over toward me. Then as the bull got up to about 70 yards, he stopped right there. And I knew that the wind direction was right, but what happened is the bull smelled where we had walked across to set up, and when he got to that point, he stopped and didn't come any closer to me. And he stopped bugling. His demeanor completely changed at that point. He turned and bugled at his cows, but then he just walked away and rejoined them. And at that point, I just didn't feel like the scenario was right to pick up and go after him because I knew it was very risky that we might just bump him and blow him out of there. So we just let him work off with his cows and live to hunt him another day.
All right, we got to see him, huh?
Yeah, nice 7x7. Screaming.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Man.
He's got a pile of cows with him, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Once again, man, the theme remains the same. Bugling. With these big herd bulls, boy, they don't like you getting in close to their cows and bugling at them, man. Just come in and tear your head off.
Elk Camp with Steve Chappell is brought to you by Bergara Rifles. Our barrels make the difference. Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. We call the game. Zeiss Sports Optics. Confidence in the toughest conditions. And by Steve Chappell's Zero Hunt Fees. Experience Arizona elk hunting with zero hunt fees. Elk Camp with Steve Chappell is brought to you by Bergara Rifles. Our barrels make the difference.
So I was really excited the following day. So I decided that morning to go out and hunt a different area. And it was an area where I had just an awesome 6x6 on trail camera. You know, he was huge on the top end. And I was hoping that morning that we might have an encounter with him and be able to call him in as we hunted. So as it started cracking gray light, we started moving in there and getting closer to the bulls, and they continued to bugle. Once again, I was able to get Tim set up in front of me. I was able to drop back behind. You know, I could tell by the way this bull was responding and just the way he sounded fairly young, but since he was close, I thought you never know. You can never tell 100% by a bull's bugle all the time. So I decided to go ahead and try to call this bull in. And sure enough, blowing my elk camp reed and just staying on him every time he bugled, pretty quickly he was coming into range and showed up at the setup and put on a show for us.
Steve is a very patient elk hunter. He plays the wind 100%. He puts a lot of thought into how we're going to approach the elk, and I've actually learned a lot. It's definitely a different style of elk hunting compared to what I'm used to.
Hi folks, today I would like to show you my Rogue grunt tube that I developed in conjunction with Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. Now this grunt tube or bugle tube is a very compact, very packable call. However, it's got great three-dimensional big bull sound to it. Some of the things I love about it are the natural back pressure that this tube creates by design to give you those really elk-like three-dimensional sounds out there. I also like that we incorporated a lip ring up on the mouthpiece that allows you to make those really great lip ball or display bugle sounds. Guys, this call is an incredibly effective call. Don't just take my word for it. Let's go to the field and see this call in action.
Yeah. Man, another, what was a dud morning again, turns into a phenomenal morning at elk camp just in that room.
Second morning, and that's two bulls over 360. He was probably 370, 380.
Yeah, yeah.
Monster.
Guys, you can pick these calls up at your local sporting goods dealer, or you can go online and order them there. Best of luck on your hunts, and thank you for watching Elk Camp TV.
This episode of Elk Camp is sponsored by Steve Chappell's Zero Hunt Fees. Experience Arizona elk hunting with zero hunt fees. This episode of Elk Camp is sponsored by Zeiss Sports Optics. Confidence in the toughest conditions.
So after the 5x5 left, we could hear another bull bugling off to the south of us. And the good thing was he was kind of approaching our direction, so we really didn't have to move a whole lot, just a little bit to be sure that we had the wind really good. And you know, on this bull, I could hear a little bit of cow calling off in the distance. So once again, I knew I was going to be dealing with at least one cow. But by blowing the cow call in a loud, excited manner, just turned up emotion, and even using my Rogue grunt tube some to cow call, it gave those elk the impression that there was more than one elk there, and I believe that that was the difference maker. So that morning, even though we had a couple of great encounters, they just weren't the kind of bulls that Tim had waited for this tag so long for. So, even though we enjoyed the call-ins, we just didn't encounter that great big 6-point that I was hoping to see that morning. And so we continued the hunt into the following day.
Wow, I didn't even think that bull was coming in, Tim.
Yeah, I thought for sure he was just gonna skirt us on the top of the ridge. But
Yeah, would we have him at, I don't know, 30, 40 yards, something like that? Put on a show for us. Pretty cool. Called in another 5-point right back here. There's a real big bull in here, but we didn't see him or hear him this morning, so a lot of fun here at Elk Camp with you this morning.
started to get better.
So just like in 2017, where I shared a great hunt with Mark Long, we were down to day 10 on this hunt with Tim Seitzinger. And you never know what can happen when you get that deep in the hunt. So I was starting to feel like we were, getting to crunch time.
So on the 10th day of my hunt, we went to a different area, heard multiple bulls, and 2 of them sounded good. So we got out and started pursuing.
We got in there pretty tight with the bull that we had decided to take a look at, and all at once we hear cow calling. So once again, the theme for the hunt was we were going to be dealing with a herd bull again. So as we pushed in there another mile or so, he started bugling a little more frequently at that point. I watched as Perry and Tim moved forward, got set up in just the right spot.
We should call that bull in. Steve ought to.
There was a cow off to their left, probably 20 yards away. Had me a little bit worried that she might pick up on us, but she didn't. Bull continued to bugle off probably 200 plus yards away. So I thought at that moment that it wasn't quite the right time to call. But as he approached and was rejoining with the cows, when I got a visual on him, I could tell that he was going to cross over 120 yards away from Tim. And with the cow moving away, I knew it was the opportune time to blow that lip ball bugle at that bull and make him deal with me.
Elk Camp with Steve Chappell is brought to you by Bergara Rifles. Our barrels make the difference. Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. We call the game. Zeiss Sports Optics. Confidence in the toughest conditions. and by Steve Chappell's Zero Hunt Fees. Experience Arizona elk hunting with zero hunt fees. This episode of Elk Camp is sponsored by Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. We call the game.
And with the cow moving away, I knew it was the opportune time to blow that lip ball bugle at that bull and make him deal with me. No sooner had I gotten the call out and he blew an aggressive bugle back at us, and I could see the antler tips starting to approach me.
Awesome job, Tim. Yeah, baby. Wow. Hey, I could see him and I knew he was gonna be too far and he was gonna slip past us, and that's why I did that. That's why I lip balled at him. Man, he just came right over.
Perfect.
Yes.
Wow, there was cows everywhere.
Yeah. I don't know how you guys, or all of us, were able to get right here because those cows strung, I mean, they were right here beside us.
Wow.
Yes.
He came right there.
Came right over. Thank you, Steve. Wow. Nice job. I think you smoked that one, boy. Sure sounded like he was crashing. What do you say, Perry? Thank you, cows. Thank you, God.
Man, yeah, when you called, he was going to scare us. When you called, he like a hook. He just hooked around.
Yeah.
Man, that was awesome.
Who said you can't call them in with the bugle, boys? So bloody you can hardly see the flashing knock. Awesome, man. Great job. Total pass through. Things are looking good. All right, well, it's been about an hour and 20 minutes since Tim smoked this bull, and we reviewed the footage a couple of times, and we can tell that he made a great shot, Tim. He made a great shot.
Looks like a double lung.
Yeah. So we're on the tracks right now. Found his arrow, as you saw. Tracks take off running. I think we're gonna have running tracks all the way to the bull, so we're gonna go get him and show him to you guys. All right.
So we had heard the bull run off, just crashing through trees and brush, and just sounded like he was totally out of control, and then all of a sudden it went silent. So I thought we had the bull probably within 200 yards. But as we got on the trail and continued to follow the bull's running tracks, and we went 200 yards, 400 yards, 500 yards, that sinking feeling starts setting in just a little bit. But part of me was still confident because we had reviewed the footage, saw how great the hit was. I knew the bull had to be down. And as we got to probably a half a mile from where the shot was, we were struggling a little bit at that point following the tracks because it had gotten pretty rocky. And as I looked forward about 50 yards, something caught my attention, and I pulled the Zeiss binoculars up, looked through the pinyon tree in front of me, and sure enough, what had caught my eye was the G1 tine of Tim's bull, and he was down.
I was down.
This is that spot.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
Well, Tim, that was an awesome morning at elk camp.
Day 10.
Yeah, it took us a little while to get here and a A lot of good encounters, but a little bit ups and downs.
We've worked elk every day.
Yeah, yeah,
Call-
herd bulls.
Yeah, I think you've called in 5 herd bulls for me. I've seen 5 herd bulls, had opportunities at some, and then maybe I don't know, dozen satellite
Smaller bulls. Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of amazing, you know. I used to be kind of shy about hunting these herd bulls because of the cows and then messing things up, but just finding more and more that, you know, if you get in here close with these herd bulls and their cows and blow an aggressive lip ball bugle at them, boy, it changes things in a hurry, doesn't it?
Yeah, he was coming to scrap.
Day 10, it's all good,
Day 10,
Tim.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank
Steve.
you again.
Thanks, Perry.
Perry, thanks for sharing
Thank you,
with us here at Elk Camp. Thank you, God. Everything worked out for us. Thanks for the blessings of this great hunt. Yeah.
Probably the biggest memory of this hunt that I'll keep with me forever is all of the encounters with the herd bulls that I've had. And you know, I blew it on a couple. And Steve was like, no big deal, we're just calling another. And sure enough, he just kept calling, and what a feeling. Biggest bull I ever killed in my life. Hunt of a lifetime.
You know, I have a program here in Arizona called Zero Hunt Fees. And if you have the desire to experience a hunt like the one that you just saw with me and Tim Sightzinger, log on to zerohuntfees.com and see how this program makes it possible for anyone to come hunt the big bulls of Arizona and experience an exciting elk hunt like the one that you just witnessed.